Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the New Normal podcast with Lee and Chantelle.
Hello, Chantelle.
Hello. It felt like a while that we haven't done this, so I'm feeling a little rusty.
We've been uploading every week. What are you talking about?
No, I mean just like, anyways.
Can't reveal all the secrets.
We've been uploading every week.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So let's update.
What's going on in the news?
Let's update our subscriber real quick. Twitter. Don't have much to say about it, but in case people haven't seen it, Elon Musk made an offer to buy entire Twitter to the board of directors, and they turned it down. So now he tried to do a tender offer, which means he directly goes into everybody who holds Twitter stock and say, can I buy the stock off of your hands? Yeah. And he's trying to buy 51% of all Twitter to gain control that way.
51%.
Yeah. We don't know what's going to happen, but I didn't think he was going to do this. I thought he was going to try to buy it. They refuse it and he goes start his own thing. But now it seems like it's he rather to start a whole fight over these Twitter shares and stuff.
Yeah, but so what's the likelihood of him, taking over Twitter, in your opinion, in your humble opinion?
It's gonna be a back and forth fight. It depends on how shitty the director wants to be. They can make it impossible, basically, but that will go against the shareholders' will, so they betray their trust and they can get sued. They probably don't want that, but then I don't know, right? But based on just a normal logic, he should be able to, because Twitter shares were like $30-something before he announced he was buying. After he said he was buying, it jumped to like $46, $47. If he stops buying and he says, I'm out, it'll probably drop back to 34, 35. I don't think the shareholders will want that. And the Twitter IPO'd, I mean, the first day it went on to the stock market at like $50-something, like 7-8 years ago. So for 6-7 years, it has gone nowhere. I don't think the Twitter shareholders would be like, oh, if I hold on for 2 more years, they're going to do well, when the past 7 years has never done well. Although it's like, what do you call it? It's like a catch-22. Is that the phrase?
I think so. I don't use this phrase, so I'm not sure.
I don't know. It's a conflicting decision, because if you sell it, you want to sell it. You want Elon Musk to gain control, and you want to sell for a higher price. But at the same time, after you sell out, Elon Musk gains control and he's going to do well with Twitter, then you sold out. All those people, all the 49% who didn't sell, they're going to ride with Elon. If he takes Twitter to the next level, then they're going to benefit. So it's kind of like, I don't know. But if I was a Twitter holder, I would sell it.
Of course you would.
Yeah, like maybe without this Elon trying to buy a thing, Twitter could go up in the future. But with this whole...
Much longer.
What do you mean?
It'll take much longer for Twitter to go up in the future.
No, but I'm saying if this whole thing didn't exist, Elon Musk trying to buy Twitter thing, maybe they could have done okay and then it recovers and then goes up. But with this whole Elon Musk thing, I don't see Twitter stock ever going up if he backs out.
Mm.
So because the whole thing has already happened, there's nothing you can do about it. You might as well just sell it. It's like holding Ukrainian shares when Russia just invaded Ukraine. You're like, if this happens, like this might never recover.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But before I was like, if Elon Musk starts his own social media, I'm gonna be on there real quick. I'm gonna be their first account.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it seems interesting to me. If someone were to start a new social media platform, what would they do? You know, there's like TikTok, there's Twitter, there's like everything is there already.
So that's what I'm like. Why did Elon Musk want to start this fight, so to speak? Like, it's to keep the freedom of speech, right? Because that's what I understand.
Yeah.
And when we talked about this before, I mentioned like the whole Joe Rogan thing. Like, where's that now, right? Like, how long is it until you can really continue keeping freedom of speech when everyone wants control over social media or the narrative? Like, everything needs to be controlled. Like, we even see this in the news to Ukraine, to Russia. Like, is there such thing as freedom of speech left? and is Twitter the only thing that's pure freedom of speech?
Twitter just happened to become a thing where people publish things and other people follow.
Yeah, but like you said, there are other outlets out there. So why does it matter so much to Elon Musk? Like, that's something that I think that people like are undershooting, is that it's valuable to him. So doesn't that say something, you know?
You had, like, take election as an example. Twitter had a outsized impact on the result of the election because Donald Trump or let's say good at tweeting. That's how he gained popularity. He didn't gain popularity through YouTube or TikTok. So even if YouTube censored him, he would have still won the election. He would have still gotten his opinions out. But after Twitter censored him, when have you heard from him? You know?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's pretty powerful.
I guess so, but also, what's not stopping someone else from building like a very similar platform with more features, let's say, or more communication tools? Because Twitter is capped at how many characters? 250 characters per tweet. Like, if there really is something on your mind, like, or having an embedded video in the tweet or something, like, there are different channels of communication. But somehow 250 characters is the sweet spot. Because why?
It's part of the reasons probably because it forces you to make each character count.
But some tweets are actually not, it's quite cryptic too. So I actually want to know what the psychology is behind Twitter. And
like for example, for YouTube titles, there is a character count. You can't exceed certain characters. And sometimes I put a title in, it exceeds it. And I'm just like, oh, like, but like this title, it describes the content the best.
And you're making a summary then. You're not making a title anymore. You're not making a title is to be attractive, to be like interest seeking, like.
No, but it doesn't allow me to put that long of a title. So it forces me to think, how can I condense the title or condense the words to make more impactful, to make it less characters, but it explained the same thing, and it actually made me make better titles. And I think that's what's happened with Twitter. Like initially, probably people want to write a whole essay of 500 characters, and it doesn't allow you to. So then you just forces you like which words are actually important. It forces you condense the idea to make it more impactful. Kind of like when we went to business school, we study business, how business writing and communication is, and they tell you to, like in other courses they gave you like 3,000 words, 5,000 words. In business papers they only give you like 1,000, 2,000. They tell you to communicate straight up, like say as simple as you can, like things like that. So
yeah.
Yeah, and like starting a new social media is based on people's imagination is very difficult. We don't know because not like as far as I know, nobody has started new social media in a long time. The last one I heard is Donald Trump starting a thing called Truth Social because he says, oh, people keep censoring me, I'm going to start my own thing. And then that has gone nowhere as far as I know. So when Elon Musk, there was a chance that Elon Musk might start something, I was curious. I was very interested because I was like, is it really difficult to start, or is it because you need someone extra capable like Elon Musk? So I was curious to see how that would play out, but it seems like he just he insists more on buying Twitter than starting another thing.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean is that, well, he's such an influential person to begin with. If he starts his own thing, I don't see it any obstacle or barrier of entry for him and or to grow his following. It would just be it's just another thing someone adds to their social media tool belt, not even tool belt, but just like their social media portfolio, or their social media accounts. It's just another thing that they sign up for and start using. And then they could like abandon Twitter overall, or they could supplement it with each other. Like, I don't know, but it would be interesting because he's in a position to do that. Whereas everyone else, well, not everyone else, but those who have attempted to create their own doesn't have the backing or the experience or the intelligence that Elon Musk has.
I think we underestimate how much work it takes to develop a new company from scratch into that big of a company. I don't know how many employees Twitter has, but probably at tens of thousands. Like just starting a new company from scratch and just trying to find tens of thousands of employees that fit your mission and you like and all of that. It's probably too much work. It takes too much time. It'd be simpler for him to just buy it outright. Buy Twitter. It already exists. Even though it's going to take him some effort to buy it, it's probably way less effort relatively to starting a new thing. Because I was watching Dave Lee recently, and he was pointing out the Boring Company just raised money at a valuation of, I don't know, 20 billion or something like this. And then he was saying, in the future, if these companies keep growing it's very possible for them to all grow to $100 billion in market cap. So it will be Boring Company, Neuralink, SpaceX, Tesla, and Starlink, and then Twitter. So Elon Musk will be the head of 6 over $100 billion companies. This is unheard of.
That's crazy.
Like Jack Dorsey was running Twitter and Square, and he was kicked out, which is like a lot of things was going on behind the scene, but the official statement they were giving is they want a dedicated CEO. They don't want one CEO running two big companies. But Elon Musk is running 6 much bigger company than both Twitter and Square. So it's probably like too much headache to go through. Like if he has to spend like 8 hours a day trying to develop a new social platform, it's probably like that time is better spent in SpaceX or Tesla. So he's just like, oh, I'm just gonna use the money on the side to buy Twitter real quick so it doesn't consume my energy. My energy is what's valuable. I have unlimited money. Like he basically has unlimited money.
Yeah, I guess so, but also like it's an ongoing development. So I don't know exactly how Twitter works or if they do improve on their platform and whatnot, but I would assume so, just to keep up with, because technology moves so fast. So I don't really see them getting behind in any way. You know what I mean? Like it's an ongoing thing. So whether or not he does purchase, let's say, Twitter and owns 51%, part of his energy would still go to Twitter and at least touch base. But the outline or the skeleton of the company would still be rooted in what was made previously, for sure. But what I'm trying to say is that there's nothing that he could like obtain that won't be worked on from him. He would still have to dedicate some time to it.
Yeah, but it will be way less time. Like it's way easier to go to.
Definitely more, like less time, but
it's way easier to go to 10,000 employees
yeah,
and who have a track record of performance and say, oh, you 5,000 are not doing well, fired, keep 5,000 instead of trying to find 5,000 new people.
Yeah.
And try to onboard them, and it's a whole thing. So anyways, but after this whole thing though, even if he buys Twitter, I don't know if I want to be on Twitter now. You know how like I was like, if he starts a new thing, I'll be on there real quick. But then now if he buys whole Twitter, I don't know if I want to be on Twitter. So are you on Twitter?
I'm not on Twitter. No, I never got into it.
Will you be on it just because he bought it?
No. I'll probably still wait and see what happens. Like I said, if it's like super groundbreaking, then maybe, but like social media overall, I'm really not a part of, or nor do I contribute. I used to like a lot, my day-to-day everything, but now it's quite liberating not to be part of it in a way and kind of like lay low and not have people know about your life. Like I feel like I like that better instead of other people knowing my whole life. Like part of me likes that I can control my own narrative, but other part of me like just really likes being under the radar, kind of not known,
Social is a danger with social media is if you spend enough time on there, you think that's reality, but that's not even close to reality.
Yeah. Oh, at one point I think I was not teetering or not even close to that, but it did affect how I think about like my outlook on life, and it can become very toxic very fast.
That's a danger, I think, with Elon Musk always doing polling on Twitter to make decisions. He's like, oh, you guys decide what I should do, and he does a poll. The poll doesn't
dangerous. That's just like gambling now.
The poll doesn't really reflect reality. Like there's a YouTube video I watch, and then when I scroll down to the comment section, there's a guy who said, oh, I connect with you on that. I like it's like it's obvious that he watched the thing and he related with based on his experience.
Yeah.
And in the reply, somebody said this is a bot. And then somebody replying to that guy saying, how could this be a bot? This is so human, so like elaborate. And then there are a bunch of other people chimed in and said, yes, we can confirm he's a bot because we have seen him in videos in different languages, all commenting in all types of videos. So the bots are like, you can't really tell the difference between a bot and a human nowadays, if what they're saying is true. And all of these comments and the likes and all of these things don't really represent people. And you think they represent the opinion of the people, but then like chances are they're all bots.
That freaks me out.
You know, it's crazy. That's one of the, what I heard, I don't know, but that's what I heard is one of the main problems with Twitter is like there's a lot of bots. But they don't, Twitter board don't want to solve that problem because the bots make up a big percentage of their accounts. They're a public company, they have to report their performance. If they get rid of all the bots, their account number will look like it dropped very sharply. So it will look like they did a bad job. So they want the bots around to fluff up the user numbers.
That's horrible.
Yeah. Anyways, let's move on to Tesla news.
Sure.
Was it this week they opened? No, actually, it was a couple of weeks ago. They opened Texas factory, and
I think a few weeks ago, 1 or 2
yeah.
weeks ago.
And this week they reported numbers, financial Q1 financials.
Pretty good.
And they blew. A guy on CNBC said they did not just blew it out of the park; they blew it all the way out of the parking lot. Yeah.
Of course, one of your jokes.
I don't know. I saw it from him. I didn't come up with this.
Yeah.
But
something along your humor, though. Just saying.
Yeah. So it's just like I predicted, all record numbers. But what's the most important is the margin, the gross margin. People who are not in business, people in business know this number is very important. People not in business don't really know. Gross margin is very important. It's basically how much money do you make per dollar of sales. So if you have double the margin, then each dollar you make double the money without increasing your sales. And Tesla had 32% gross margin this quarter, which is double most of the car makers. But they are still a small car manufacturer right now. They will improve it even further. If they double it again, which means like if they triple it, they triple the traditional car makers, they're gonna have around 40 to 45%. And that's the same gross margin as Apple, which they sell cell phones and they have a big software, most of their money comes from software, the app store and cloud and everything like that. And you'll be crazy. And a little iPhone sells for $1,000. A Tesla car sells for $50,000. It's 50 times more money. If they have the same margin and they sell the same, they are not going to sell the same number of cars as the number of iPhones, obviously. But just in terms of the impact, if they sell the same number of cars as number of iPhones, they're going to be worth 50 times more than Apple, which today is the biggest company in the world.
Yes.
Let that sink in.
Which is why I'm waiting for the stock split so I can purchase more. Also, all the stocks been going up and now it's over 1,000.
What do you mean?
I was waiting for it to go down to 800 750 at least minimum, so I could purchase more, because I purchased at a good price to begin with.
Put that out in the universe. Maybe the universe will make it happen.
I'm sure it will, because it's quite up there right now, and they already did a stock split. I'm just waiting. And every time we do an episode that talks about Tesla, I bring it up. And I like to bring up the smaller vehicle, because I don't want such a bigger vehicle. I want a smaller vehicle. I want a little cute one, like similar to the Y, but like just smaller.
Or they mentioned on the earnings call that in 2022, which is only in 2 years, they're going to start producing a car without steering wheel, without pedals. And it's going to be fully autonomous, and it's going to charge you per mile or per kilometer. And it's going to be cheaper than a bus ticket. So
we'll see.
Instead of buying a car, maybe you can just take the taxi, the Tesla taxi.
We'll see. We'll see how that works. Well, because we're not even in full self-driving yet. Come on, what's going on with that? Or is it your score?
Allegedly, he said he's gonna solve it by the end of this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then next year, he's gonna start trying to produce a little bit. And then by 2024, he's gonna start produce Hala taxis without steering wheels and pedals and stuff.
Yeah, I'll see it. We'll see.
So, yeah, but back to the margin thing. I think they have at 30% already. Most people think is unsustainable. They think, oh, it's too high. They're probably just one off. I think they have a very good chance of getting it over 40% based on what I've seen. My expectation, or like my view of Tesla, has transformed 3 times in the past. At first, I thought of Tesla as, very good company, it's going to do well. And then AI day happened. It transformed my, knowledge of the company and my expectations. And this week, because of the factory and the earnings call, it transformed again. So now I expect Tesla to do bigger, better things than I initially even thought.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty crazy.
Well, it's undeniable. I'm pretty sure like other people have been transformed and reborn and fucking like, like 5 times already. So I'm the same, but also I'm not like that crazy about it as you. I'm kind of just like, I'm here for the ride. I'm gonna see what happens. I believe in this as well. Like it's quite logical, really, in the progression of how they're trying to roll this out. So I'm like, okay, I'm on board. And then when other car manufacturers start following suit, I'm like, okay, we have something here.
A quick fun fact is that Tesla's name used to be Tesla Motors. And then
actually, I remember this long ago.
And then they have developed beyond cars. So they took out the motors. They were just called Teslas to allow them to broaden their products and scope. So I think, but there's no more name to change. There's no more words to take out. But then the changes they have had in the past couple of years is worthy of another name change. I don't think they're gonna change that. I don't want them to change their name, but I'm just saying that's how big of how much they evolved. Yeah. Is crazy.
So good.
Their first few factories were already doing better than the traditional car makers who's been making cars for over 100 years. And then they built a factory in Shanghai, and that blew everybody's mind. But now they build a new factory, the Texas factory. It's even more next level than the Shanghai factory.
Yeah.
I'll give you a quick example of this. Okay. There's a guy called Sandy Monroe. He's an engineer guy. He's on YouTube. But anyways, he went to the factory and he told his experience of the factory. One thing that blew my mind, okay, is he said, you know, like I watched the Elon Musk presentation. He showed a flow chart of how they're used to build their cars, which is like they build a motor here, they get it delivered over there, then they get packaged into a car or whatever. Now, this new factory, they have put everything together as tightly as they could into the same building. So then instead of delivering things, transporting things from one building to another, it's like everything stays in one building. They just flow through and gets built. And then that already, from studying logistics, I knew how hard and how beneficial that is. So that already blew my mind when he said that. But then Sandy Monroe brought up something even crazier, which is not only they designed because when we study logistics, right, they give you a flow chart. Okay, these are the activities. They go from here to here to here, and you identify the bottlenecks here. So you move these things around to increase the efficiency. But what they took to the next level is, instead of looking at it 2D, they look at 3D. So he said on there are 4 floors of this factory. On 4th floor, they produce the individual batteries. And then from the 4th floor, they drop it to 3rd floor. And on 3rd floor, they pack the individual batteries into a pack. And then from the 3rd floor, they drop it to the 2nd floor, where they are making the assembly lines of the cars. And then just boom, just drop it as the base of the car. And then they put the front and the end piece of the car on it. Then it's a car.
Interesting.
So what Elon Musk said is he wants it, you know, before you make a part and you send it over to somebody, or somebody make a part, send it over to you. Instead, he wants this factory to be raw material in from the entrance and then car driving out of the exit. So instead of you moving, there's an engine department, there's this department, that department, it's just metal coming into the front, and then at the end, just car just drives out.
That's cool.
Yeah, so there's like essentially
and that makes sense too.
Yeah, but it's like it's so common sense, but it's so like unbelievable. You know, like he has made a big ass stamping machine to stamp the front of the car and the back of the car. So the front and the back are now only 2 pieces. Before this factory, the front were like 200 piece, and the back was like 200 piece. But now the bottom is going to be the battery pack. The front is the 1 piece they stamp, and the back is going to be 1 piece they stamp. And then they just need to put the rest of the car on top of it. And then boom, it's done. It's going to be faster, cheaper, more efficient, and everything. Like the Q1 financial result is already like, it's hard for people to believe already, but this doesn't even include any efficiencies from this new factory, because this new factory has only opened this month. And when
crazy time.
Yeah, when this ramps up, and then, you know, later on when he open more new factories, takes the learning of this factory, makes it even better, it's you know, the efficiency is gonna blow people's mind. Like, people are gonna probably send auditors to Tesla thinking it's fake numbers. This is not even counting the software. Yeah, they're not even, you know, they, from hardcore manufacturing, they're getting software like margins already. If adding another software margin on it, it's good. Yeah.
What a crazy time, because only so many people are seeing the opportunities. And when they see one opportunity, they say it all.
Yeah. Before I thought my thesis before was, oh, I want to invest in Tesla. It's, it's a good car company. It's gonna, it's gonna produce better cars than other people. It might not necessarily be better at manufacturing than other car companies, but because they're electric, they have less parts, so they're gonna be cheaper. It's gonna sell. And I thought it was gonna 10x in 10 years. But it's already 10x one time. But now I think it's at least, before I thought if everything goes really, really well, it was 10x. But now I think it's gonna, bare minimum, they're gonna 20x in 10 years, which is they already 10x again. So 20x again makes them 200x. And that's, I think it's like not even like my ideal scenario. That's like if a lot of things went wrong, like the robot never worked, the taxi never worked, just by selling cars, they will probably 20x easy from this point. That's why I say it's a transformative. It's like my idea of Tesla and the expectation has gone up to a level it's like worthy of a name change.
Again?
What do you mean?
What do you mean name change?
Yeah, like back in the day, it was called Tesla Motors, and then they developed to a point where like they need to change their name to match how different they were from Tesla Motors. And I don't want them to change their name, but I'm saying like it's worthy to change their name to match the difference. Like how different Tesla is today is a completely different company than Tesla 5 years ago, even though it's still called Tesla. Like if you change its name, it will still be appropriate because that's how different it is. It appears to be similar. It's kind of like Tesla cars. Tesla only has one model car for each category. They don't be producing like 100 different types of crazy cars.
I kind of like that, actually. It's very simple.
And they keep improving on their cars. I forgot how many times, but Elon Musk said on average, they change their cars like 3 times a week or something like that. So the car you see today, the Model Y, the Model 3 you see today, it looks almost exactly the same as the one 3 years ago, but then it's entirely a different car because of how many little changes accumulate throughout the years. And that's what I'm saying is the same case with Tesla. Even though it still looks like same, it's still a car company, still making cars, same cars, but it's has transformed to a completely different thing. I think part of the reason why most people like don't want to invest in Tesla is because all of these things sound too good to be true. People have this like, nah, like it's too crazy. It can't get there, Like for example, like Apple is the biggest company in the world and in the history of all companies. No company has ever achieved $3 trillion in market cap. And Apple is the first one. But saying Tesla is going to 20x implies that Tesla is going to be worth 20 trillion. So when you just freshly seen the biggest company in the world is only worth 3 trillion, and you say, oh, some other companies all of a sudden jump to 20 trillion, it's just so hard to believe. If I haven't seen this much evidence just pounding in my head, I wouldn't even believe it. But anyways, What's up? What do you think?
I'm excited. I'm just like, every time some news comes out, I just like listen. And like I said, I'm not like super crazy about it like you, how you are, but I'm just here for the ride and I'm excited to see what happens. And like every time when one thing is said and then it's followed through with, then I'm just like, well, like the more like my belief in Tesla keeps going, and the fact that I get to like experience it with you is even cooler because then like yes, you have a Tesla too. Yes, you get to see some rollouts and like I get to see it in real time too. Whereas in most cases, some people, most people probably don't even own a Tesla and they just see it and or they just like get to drive one and don't experience it day to day. So like it's a different experience.
They just be hating on
Yeah, well, part of
it.
it is that too. Like you have people who just love Tesla and who like really get with what they're trying to do, and then you have some people who are really controversial and like really go against what Tesla is trying to build. And like it'd be interesting to see how Tesla's actions will shut everyone up who's going against them,
Yeah.
you
Looking
know?
back, it's gonna be super clear. Just like
Yeah.
if you look back to Edison invented the light bulb, like it's super clear that it was gonna go viral. You know, it's gonna do well. It's gonna benefit humankind. But I was told, I don't know if it's true, but people said when he did the light bulb, people were shitting on his idea. It was like,
Mm.
what are you doing trying to develop a gadget like that? It's like so uh, tacky. What's
Mm.
the word?
I don't know if tacky is the right word, but like
Yeah, but it's just people are just like who want to like thing that lights up, like it's so such a gadget. Like nobody will want that.
it
And
is a
then,
gadget. Like a flashlight is a gadget.
yeah, that's what people thought of the light bulb. And then she changes the world. Now looking back, nobody hates on Edison. Same
Yeah.
thing with Steve Jobs. When Steve Jobs was in Apple, actually a lot of people hated on Steve Jobs. But no, looking back, nobody hates on Steve Jobs anymore. I
Mm.
think that's what's going to happen with Elon Musk. But I don't want to miss the whole thing and then looking back in the future and then realize what happened, be like, and tell my kids, oh, back in the day, I saw Elon do this. Instead, like he's the Edison of our time. I want to like
Mm-hmm.
experience him as Edison, follow him as Edison when it's
Mm-hmm.
happening, rather than like miss it and then like later on I talk about it like I knew it all along. Yeah, like when you hear these historic, just like what's it called, the plague, is it called plague?
The Spanish plague.
Yeah, the plague happened in history. You heard about it, and now you hear it's happening right now in this world. You don't believe it. You're like, nah, like it can't happen now. Like that's something belonging to textbook in history.
Yeah, and literally everything that's been happening in the last few years is textbook worthy. So that's why it's like such an interesting time to be alive because we're not in between any of those eras. We're in it. We're literally right in the middle of it. And for those who are aware enough to you know treasure the ups and the downs during these moments are the most colorful memories that one will ever have because it only comes every 10 years or something like that, and it's up to you to figure out whether you get a positive experience from it or continue having a negative experience.
I think the same thing is gonna happen. Like just like how we look back and learn, oh, in 1889, like Edison invented the light bulb or whatever. We're gonna look back, be like, in 2022, Elon Musk invented the rocket, and they're gonna
Yeah.
learn about this in the textbooks on a high school on Mars.
That's crazy. See, even just that, like being on Mars is already crazy. Like,
Yeah, I also thought about this. This is crazy. Okay, this is crazy. If Elon Musk is the first and only person who can get to Mars because he's the only one who has a rocket, he can invent government, he can invent currency, he can develop schools, he can do whatever he wants on that planet.
yeah.
Can you imagine? That's great. Like in the interview I watched him do, the guy asked him, the guy was like, oh, do you worry that the government will want to shut you down because you have too much power? You like your Tesla is going into so many industries and you develop so much power, and the government is not going to be comfortable with that. And then he made the joke. He said, I'm just going to go to Mars. Peace, suckers. But then that, even though that's a joke, it's like, it's a real, like nobody can do nothing to him.
Yeah.
Even all of the government in the whole world band together trying to shut him down, he still have the safe exit of going to Mars, and nobody can do anything. What are they gonna? They can't get there. He's the only one who can get there.
But what's the point? How can you even build something like that if no one is there to experience it? Like you're building everything for yourself, basically. You know, like it doesn't count until other people get to experience it.
Yeah, well, obviously that's not the ideal situation, being a
Yeah.
castaway or whatever. But I'm just saying, like, no man have ever had that power in history. Like you're like unplugged.
No man can have all that power.
Was it? Wait, Kanye fan?
Yeah.
No, you're not. Stop lying.
I'm not a big Kanye fan, but I know his stuff. Anyways.
Yeah. So like, but like before this, it's like you couldn't even imagine if you say someone's an international, what's it called, criminal. They have a warrant. They have an international warrant out to arrest him. You wouldn't even think. You'd be like, eventually he's gonna get caught. Where he's gonna go? Where is he gonna go? What's he gonna do? Doesn't matter he's rich or not. Putin is rich as hell. When they asked Elon Musk, they were like, "Oh, you're the richest person in the world." He said, "Only like not counting sovereign countries. Putin is richer than me. I can't invade a different country. So Putin is richer and has more power. But look what happened. Everybody sanctioned the shit out of him. And there's nothing he can do. He can't unplug from the system. He still have to play the game of currency. If he wants to claim a land, he has to register the land office or whatever. Whereas Elon Musk goes to Mars, if he say I own the whole planet, who's gonna say anything?
That's crazy.
Yeah. And if he says, if you want to come to Mars, this is my system of how it operates. You have to follow or you're not coming. Like doesn't matter if you're trying US government or not. Your president doesn't matter. Your vote count as one on Mars rules.
That's so crazy. I cannot even fathom.
Also, this is another crazy concept is they asked him, I think it was, they asked him like he's a big fan of Dogecoin. It's kind of
my gosh, yeah.
It's kind of like as a joke, right? He's fucking around. But they asked him, "Are you going to make Dogecoin the currency on Mars?" And he said, "The data center is on Earth. To send the signal over, it's going to take like 3 years. So the currency wouldn't work." That blew my mind. I was like, what the fuck? I never even thought about that. You just take that for granted. You're like, oh, I'm user, like people say Bitcoin, right? Oh, it's instant and it's all protected, all this. You transfer Bitcoin, you're like, oh, it's so convenient. If you go to Mars, maybe you take Bitcoin there and it's gonna, but then people don't think Bitcoin is a data stored in the data center, and it's built on Earth, and to send that signal over to Mars is gonna, it takes like 3 years for the signal to travel there.
So what would Mars use?
So they have to develop a currency like locally. You can't use anything from Earth.
Yeah. So, but all of the electronics would come from Earth as well. So it might go back to the olden days where like a rock is, something valuable that you exchange it for. The barter system. That might come back on Mars.
No. No, that's too behind. If
something, because there's no manufacturing on Mars. Literally, when you get there, there's nothing there. You have to build everything from scratch. So it kind of makes sense to go back to something like that. Or what is he gonna do? Bring fucking coins from Canada, from Earth to Mars? Like, how do you exchange things?
You just bring a bunch of Tesla bot and build everything. Duh.
We'll see.
Duh. Or in the beginning, you just like write it down, super old school.
This kind of freaks me out actually, because we're talking about the future, and then like, what if our kids watch this back and like rolls their eyes and laughs at us because they have everything that we ever talked about, and it's just normal to them because they grew up that way. That's messed up. That kind of freaks me out a little bit, because I'm like, whoa, like really getting old. Like,
yeah, they're gonna be
the way we talk about our parents going to school, or them looking at encyclopedias, or them like, walking to a destination because there's no, like, it kind of blows my mind a little bit, actually.
It won't even, like, to them, it would just be like, of course, this is,
Yeah,
like,
it's a normal occurrence in their life. It's just a normal event.
I watched the TV show.
We watch a lot of TV shows.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, okay? In this TV show, it's called Russian Doll, but it doesn't matter what's it called, okay? So the point is, in this TV show...
Russian Doll?
Yeah.
We're not going for Russians right now.
No, it has nothing to do with Russia.
Russians are also out of the Olympics.
It's an American TV show. It's nothing to do with Russian. But anyways, okay. So in this TV show, this guy traveled back in time and went to Berlin. And he was traveling to a different person's body. And then they were plotting to bomb a bridge. And then he's from the future.
See, I told you, Russian bombing.
No, calm down. This guy's not Russian.
We're gonna get censored or something. YouTube's gonna kick us out of our podcast.
Don't jump to stereotypes, okay? Also, there's another funny thing, okay? I just listened to Andrew Schultz's podcast real quick, and then they were talking about somebody was praying on a plane, and some Muslims got mad. He was like, "Stop praying on planes. What if we were praying on planes? What would you do?"
That's messed up.
So it's like, it's like people think Muslims are terrorists. But anyways, so in this show, he jumped into this guy's body, and this guy, his body he jumped into was plotting a bombing of a bridge, because they have to bomb the bridge to go to the other side of the Berlin Wall to see their family. And then this guy's from the future, so he's just like, let's not bomb it. Let's not risk our life. The Berlin Wall is going to go down, because historically he's from future. He knows like it's going to go down for a fact. But then the people there couldn't fathom. They were like, what do you mean it's going to go down? Like, it's based on what we see now. Like, there's no way you can draw the conclusion that they're going to let the Berlin down fall. Like, it's impossible. But this guy's like, no, you just need to wait till 1985 or whatever the year is. It's going to fall. And they couldn't fathom. So it's the same thing probably going to happen when people in the future looking back in our videos, like these people are so behind. Of course this is going to happen. What are you talking about? Like, oh, maybe this will, but no, like it's so obvious, you know?
Yeah. Like it's like it's really like
What the hell
freaks
is
me
that? What the hell is what?
out. It's just crazy times. It's just, oh man, I don't know.
Yeah. You will want to upload your consciousness to see that happen.
That's scary too. Like, no, I don't know. Like, what's the right answer? Like, it's like our parents. Like, remember those huge brick phones just to make a phone call? Like, it went from a freaking pager, where they page their phone numbers to each other and then they have to go to actual phone to call. And then it became the brick phone. And then it became the small flip phone. And then it became like, and now we have touchscreen. Like, what?
Well, let me tell you something else that's pretty crazy, okay? I don't know if you know this, but I was studying real estate, right? Trying to get
I knew this.
like realtor license. But one of the things I learned is that until not long ago, it was a deed system. Do you know the deed system? But it's essentially which the land belongs to who is based on the paper. And then when you change hand, right? Like if I sold the land to you, you write, okay, Lee sold land to Chantelle. And then you put the paper on top of that paper. Like now you have two papers because you transacted one time. And then to prove that this land is yours, you got to show the proof of all of the history. So like, so because it changes hands so many times, some deeds have like 90 papers, 95 or whatever. So if you miss one paper in between, it doesn't connect. Do you see what I'm saying?
It's still like that?
Not anymore, but
yeah.
It was only abandoned like not too long ago though. Like it's long based on our like time, like maybe 30, 40 years or something. But then based on like history, it's actually not long. It's like majority of time in Canada, they use that system. So if I sold it to you and then you sold it to the third person, the fourth person, you got to show proof of all the papers saying first one is I sold it to you. The second one is you sold it to him. So the entire history of
That's
the transaction
so messed up.
of the house. If you miss one paper in between, the transaction don't connect anymore. Then like your whole thing is void.
Yeah, how does that work? Like, what if you accidentally missed a paper?
Yeah,
Is an accident? It's an honest mistake.
Yeah, and the people's house get burned down sometimes, and the deed is in the old chest buried in their house or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And also because it's paper, you can forge it. You can like people make up some shit. Like there's all types of shit happen. When the teacher taught me that, that blew my mind. Because to us, it's just like you buy a house, you know it's yours. You don't need to prove it. You don't even think any different person will come to claim your house. And back in the day, that'd be happening.
Yeah, well, especially if you go on vacation, there'd be squatters around, you know?
Yeah. So it's like, like you were talking about like phone book is in paper. Like imagine phone book is like whatever, you can lose it, you can make mistakes. And then if you lose the number, you have a different like book to check or whatever. Imagine your whole house, the legitimacy of your house is based on like one stack of paper and then the condition of those papers, and there's no backup, there's no database, there's no like, oh, I lost my paper, like can you check your database or anything like that? You can't Google it. There's nobody else to check. That shit is wild.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but now like we look back, we're like, how can you feel like secure enough to sleep at night if that's like the paper on your bad side is, you know, if it gets like blow away onto the candle, gets burned, your whole house is not yours anymore. Like you get so nervous. But
Yeah. So there's
probably
only one master copy. Because I would, if knowing that, I would make ton of copies, put them everywhere.
yeah, but then that's like it's probably difficult to make. That's why it's like it can prove it's like real. And but that's probably what future people think of us. They look back, they're like, what? They put in things on database people can hack and change?
Yeah,
What
that's
the
true.
hell? They're probably
Yeah.
like, oh, if my like title or my money is in a bank where, you know, it's just a database and they get hacked all the time, I will never feel secure enough to go to sleep at night. But living in it, that's how we, you know, operate, and then we just take it for as a default. It's like, oh, banks are safe, and you know, then and whatever.
Well, all the olden people back in the day must think that using currency, like compared to the cavemans, is even crazy. Like you use currency? Oh, there's e-transfer now? Like, like
Yeah,
they wouldn't even think of this stuff. Like electronics, technology, that's a thing. Like, whoa.
yeah. Even just cars, like somebody said this a long time ago to me, and it resonated with me, but I didn't think of it. They said, oh, people say, oh, electric cars are dangerous, but do you know gasoline is an explosive? They don't even let you bring it on the plane or anywhere. You put in explosives inside of your car, and then how gasoline cars work is they cause mini explosions inside of your car to generate energy.
Mm-hmm.
When people in the future looking back, they're gonna think that's the craziest idea. Like just like how we look at motorcycles as unsafe. You're like, oh, motorcycles are unsafe. You need to wear a helmet.
Mm-hmm.
What about there's explosives in the trunk of your car you actively put in yourself? You know, that sounds crazy as hell, but people be doing it every day. They're like, oh, I'm gonna go pump my gas, get some gas. Oh no,
Yeah.
the price went up $2. That's what you worry about? What about the explosion in the back of your car happening every second? That doesn't worry you? Yeah.
You act like you don't even drive a gas car. You've driven a gas car before. You just have electric now.
Yeah, because I didn't know how that shit worked. Okay?
Only if you had known, you wouldn't be
Oh,
sitting in a vehicle.
yeah. Also, another thing they said is a lot of the car crash, the car actually doesn't kill you. It's because there's an engine in the front. They hit the engine, and the engine comes back and hits you in the face, and it kills you. Whereas the electric cars don't have the engine in the front, so even if it's the same crash, it like you won't get injured nearly as bad.
Mm.
But nobody like thought of these things. Is But then I've been in car accidents before, and then not much happened to me, so I wasn't like scared of it. But now hearing that science behind it, now I get like more concerned if I'm in a gasoline car.
Yeah.
Yeah. Electric car is the future.
Tesla is the safest car.
Yeah. Also, another thing, a funny thing is Tesla put out a chart of how many people are ordering Teslas. It's like a chart like this, like going flat. And then there's an arrow pointing at it saying it's Super Bowl, and then shot up.
Super Bowl.
Yeah. You know why?
Why?
Because a bunch of legacy automakers advertised their electric cars during the Super Bowl. But people saw electric cars, they didn't care which brand, they just went straight to Tesla and bought a Tesla.
Oh my gosh, free advertising. Go to the
Thank you,
original,
Ford.
go to the ones that make it the best.
Thank you, GM.
Thank you, Ford.
Yeah, it's like if like back in the day when Apple first came out with the touch screen phone, and Motorola just advertised the shit out of their phone, and people saw the phone. They weren't even thinking about phone, and Motorola's advertisement got them thinking about phone, and they just went and bought an Apple.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like now, unless you're not thinking about cars, if you're thinking about cars, you have to think about electric. If you're thinking about electric, the only thing you can go to is Tesla. There's nothing else. So it doesn't matter if they're like putting out all types of advertisements and announcement, all types of things. Whatever they do, it's benefiting Tesla. They are all people always go back to Tesla.
There are other alternatives, but it's just not.
No, there isn't.
It's not Tesla.
No, but even Tesla, people order today, you're gonna get it like next year. That's how long the wait is. But for other car companies, it's unlimited. They can't even give you a timeline. They're not even producing like that. So even if you like their cars, you can't even buy it. And it's not like it's a long wait. It's like it's uncertain. You don't even know if it's ever gonna come. Yeah.
Too crazy times.
Yeah.
So I guess that's all.
Yeah.
Anyways, having said all that.
If after hearing all of that, you're not convinced still, then I can't help you. Okay.
Whoa. That's why you need to don't be normal, be yourself. We'll see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.